Alright, been working on this one all day long. I opened it up this morning and we examined the motor. And it had definitely been serviced before. The grease was liquid. There was no dirt. Everything was correct. I opened up the spring barrel, looked inside. Beautiful looking grease, nice and slick. And what appeared to be some very good condition springs. So I closed it back up again. Put it back in the machine. Wound it up. Everything was smooth for about a minute, and all of a sudden, boom, bang, thump. Worst rumble I've heard in a while. Now, usually that happens when the springs are all caked up with ancient crud and are just sticking together, and they suddenly release in the barrel. That's what gives it the rumble like that you may hear when a Victrola is playing, if it hasn't been serviced in a very long time. Not good for the springs, not good for the motor, not good for the records, nothing. This is why you pull out springs and check them. So, of course, I took the motor apart anyway, and I pulled the springs out. Lots of slick grease on there, but I noticed right away it was very, very thick grease. Some of the thickest grease I've ever seen. I have no idea where they got that from. Reminded me of 1950s bearing grease, almost that thick, very fibrous and thick. Not stuck on, not baked on, it wiped right off, but it was so thick, it was actually impeding what turned out to be a brand new set of springs. I don't know if those springs were replaced 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 50, whatever it is, they're like brand new. And they're not springs for the Victrola VI. They are springs for the Victrola IX. The difference being the size, the length. I think the 9 is like 17 and 19 feet long, something like that. These were like 16 or 17, a little bit shorter. You know, this was a slightly less expensive machine by like $10 or $12 in 1923. And part of what you got with the more expensive Victrola IX, other than, you know, mahogany and all that, is you had larger springs. This shares a motor, a spring size with the Victrola VI. Still 2 springs, same motor on the outside, everything's the same spring barrel, but the springs are a little bit shorter, that's all. You get what you pay for, and you want to pay a little bit more of a premium, get longer string. Well, whoever did this one put the 9s, you could tell right away just by how they filled the barrel. It's obvious that they were filling it a bit more than I'm used to seeing with the 8s and the 6s. So that's good. That's good. That means this has the power of a 9, which they should have done in the first place. No other surprises in the motor. Everything was good. And nothing was loose, nothing was missing, nothing was broken. Looks like they did the springs on the governor at the same time. But for some reason, why they use that thick grease, I don't know. So I had to degrease everything, of course. And I do this anyway because I like to know the type of grease being used. You know, I have my own specific formula that I like to use, and that's what I want in there, so I know there's no problems. And sure enough, the rumble immediately disappeared the minute I put it back together and played it. Not even so much as a growl. Tightened up the tone arm. I don't have the number 2 on there yet. That's the number 4 reproducer that's on there right now. That's the HMV number 4, which is identical physically to the Victrola number 4, except this one is made from all brass. Well, the Victrola 4A is made from pot metal. The regular 4 is brass. Just some minor styling differences between them. They're the same, everything. No surprises in the wood. Didn't expect there would be any. Everything was good underneath the motor board. Didn't really need to clean anything because, like I said, whoever had this machine in the last video, I said it, whoever had this machine had been taking care of it. This wasn't abandoned in a garage somewhere for 50 years or 60 or 100 years. Somebody was probably playing it. Why they didn't rebuild the reproducer, don't know. Maybe they didn't realize it needed to be rebuilt. I'm sure they went through life saying, you know, records in the 1920s, they really sounded like crap. Yeah, because you didn't rebuild the reproducer. They're not so bad when, you know, they're played as intended with a rebuilt reproducer, new gaskets, new diaphragm. You know, that's the heart of the machine right there. The reproducer, that's the heart of the sound reproduction in this machine. If it's not correct, it's not going to work well. You're not going to be getting the full potential out of the machine. You know, any kind of motor could spin this at 78 RPM. But what really made the sound is that reproducer. The number 4, the number 2, or the exhibition, doesn't matter, they're all good. And this machine could use all 3. 1923, the number 2 reproducer had been standard on the 8 since 1921, so we know that now. So that was the original reproducer on there, and it'll be back on there again once it's rebuilt, which I will take care of. The speed control had been set to 78. That was a nice surprise. I almost never find that. And everything was good. And we're just spinning up some records now as I distribute the grease in the motor. So I did have to do everything. We have Lonely in a Crowd, Jacques Renard and his Coconut Grove Orchestra. May or may not have played that before, don't know. I wanted a record with some wear on it, as you can see this has. So that we could put some stress on the motor, make it work for it. The new springs were a very pleasant surprise. No auto brake on this one, of course. That was not an option on the 8. Oh, I just lost the needle. I'll have to find out. There it is. Get rid of that before I stab myself with it. Let's see what's on the flip side. We have another mystery. 1923. This should be an orange felt. I did find a piece of orange felt used as a bumper underneath between the motorboard and the case. So I don't know if this has been replaced. It's old enough that it has moth spots and discolorations, and it's faded. It looks like it's been there for a century, almost a century, but I'm not entirely sure. Now, in 23, early 23 could still have green. Late 23 certainly would have orange, but I'm not sure. I have yet to find a picture of one of these, any 8, that actually has, you know, any kind of orange felt on it. So I could replace the felt, if need be, with orange. I do have that in stock. Almost the right shade, or maybe even the right shade. Even if I have to cut down one of my 12-inch ones. So we'll see. But I'll leave it if possible, because I just don't know. Like I said, somebody was taking care of this machine, so maybe in 1965 they put a new felt on it. Who knows? And decided to use green because that's all they could find. Never really know, but right now we have Beneath Venetian Skies, Jacques Renard again, and the Coconut Grove Orchestra. I did flip the record over, did I? Yeah, I did, I think. We'll find out.
Words endearing while I was gondoliering beneath Venetian skies with you.
Okay. Whoops, don't put that with the new ones. And I should probably wind it. Come to think of it, this could probably play 4 sides of a record now with those springs, but it's cold enough in here that the grease is going to be a little thick, so we will let it have full power. And get the next record. Let's try Honeydew by the Joseph C. Smith Orchestra. Actually, let's play side A first. Oh, this is weird. I think I've had this happen before. I don't know if this is the same song going on both sides. We have Honeydew on side 18719A, and we have it again. Honeydew 18719B. I wonder if that's the same song. Actually is on both sides if they just made a mistake. We'll find out. We will find out. Okay. So we may hear the same song both times. I guess that would constitute as an error record? I don't know. Okay, we'll find out. Okay. Let's find out if that's what's on side B. Same song. All right. We will spin the needle to find out. Did they screw up and put the same song on both sides of the record? I bet that upset people who paid $1 a piece for these things, or 75 cents, or whatever they were at the time, to find out they had two copies of the same song on the same record. I wonder how many went back to the store and said, hey, we got a little issue here, buddy. I want half my money back. Okay. New needle. Fire it up. Well, I guess they made a label mistake. Not a record mistake. They made a label mistake. Didn't put the name of the correct song on there. Oh well. At least we didn't get ripped off. We did get a second song. Okay. Machine sounds pretty good with that number 4 on there. I'll give it that. Let's see. Why don't we play Blues? Estelle Walker. I may have played that before, but that's alright. We'll play it again. Okay. The object is to spin the motor and to work the spring to get all the grease all mixed up nice in there. So it's good for another 100 years. Well, this grease hadn't been in there 100 years, but close enough. Ah, I didn't tighten it enough. And the needle fell out. Okay. That's alright, as long as I didn't do it on a record. Didn't tighten it at all. Alright. That's better.
When you hide a lot of liquor and somebody goes and takes it off the shelf, there are blues you get from waiting on a dock and wondering if the boat is going to rock. There are blues that come from getting in a taxi cab and fretting every time you hit a bump and jump the clock. There are blues you get from trying hard to save some guy from dying. He afterwards forgets you in his will. There are blues much worse than this is when you walk with the missus and some chorus ladies shout, "How that feel?" But the blues that make me hot and cold and make me shake and shiver and make me wanna air it all in the river are the blues my naughty sweetie gives to, and they're the very, very meanest kind of blues. Louis blues.
There we go, and no more shaking and shivering and rattling and thumping and bumping. Spring is good. Springs, I should say. I wonder if there's time for one more. Sometimes they end up getting cut off on these. This camera only records 27-minute videos. But you know what? We'll try Sweet Kisses on there. And if it makes it, it makes it. Okay. This time I'll remember to tighten down on the needle. Try not to stab myself while I'm doing it. Okay.